Welcome to the show. I am back live and direct with, man, this is gonna be a fun one. I was hyped, but then I had to become a little bit more grounded, man. This is a cool moment to actually sit down with one of my nephews that I'm so proud of. He's done some amazing things, and just really excited to see what he has going on in his life. And so, welcome to the show, Bryton,
Man, yeah,
John. You got to get the full name in there.
I appreciate you having me.
Bro, it's the whole purpose of this podcast was really just to focus on the mindset, and one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about, and I think this is something that could relate, is there's a lot of kids right now going through a lot of pressure. And talking to your dad literally through this podcast, pressure is something that we all deal with. Mental health is something I'm really passionate about, something I struggled with, something that I still deal with to this day. And I think in the Polynesian culture, I was taught to just bottle it up, be a man, suck it up. But it can be a lot. And I want to talk about that and get into that. Well, right now, Brian, introduce yourself, your name, where you're from, and what are you most proud of?
Yeah, so my name is Bryton Yu. I'm from Lehigh, Utah. Just graduated and finished up a semester at Utah Tech, and now I'm about to go on a mission in 3 weeks.
Where are you going on your mission?
San Bernardino, California.
How are you feeling about it?
Man, I'm excited. It'll be a big change than what I'm used to, growing up in Utah. Everyone calls it the bubble. But yeah, I'm excited to get out to Cali and, just experience what that life is like.
Yeah, and I'm proud of you for going on your mission. I know it's something that hasn't been easy. I know it's something that was really, really tough to really lean to. And I'm gonna be honest, I was surprised when I got the phone call that, you were going on a mission, because I was like, what do you mean? He's literally enrolled into Utah. But what led you to come to that place to make that decision to go on your mission?
Yeah, right. I think it's always been a thought in the back of my head growing up. Growing up a member, it's like kind of expected. But I think a big challenge was when my older brother didn't serve. I look up to my older brother for everything. He's like a big role model for me. And so,
Do you mind? What's your brother's name?
My brother's name is Jet. He's the big low bro. But yeah, Jet. He's a big influence on my life. Obviously, when I saw him go to college, it just made me want to go to college even more, play football. I mean, you get it. You have older brothers, you look up to them for everything. So when he didn't serve a mission, it was kind of like, damn, I really had to figure out for myself. It's not like I can just follow him and do what he's doing. So I really had to think about it and pray a lot about it. And when I was committed to Oklahoma State, I talked to my dad about it sometimes. It was like a thought, but it wasn't gonna happen. And then I went to Utah Tech, and I ended up rooming with our family, Sean New. That was my roommate. And he was fresh off a mission. He was probably like 3-4 months off his mission. And so we would have people in our dorm, and he'd be teaching them lessons.
Really?
So it would be me and Sean, our beds are like this, and so people would stand in the door frame, we pull chairs in our room, and me and Sean would just be teaching them about the gospel. And so I was like, we have people even from other religions, they'd be strong Catholics in our room, and we would just be talking to them. And they sometimes try to Bible bash, but we would bring it back to the main thing. We're not here to Bible bash, we're here to talk about the gospel. And so I would just learn from him how to teach. And then one day he wasn't there. And they came to me, some of our dorm mates came to me and asking me questions. And so then that's really the first time I had to stand on business for what I believed in to non-members. And that was one of the most spiritual experiences I've had. And
Talk to us about that.
yeah, so they started talking to us about Joseph Smith, obviously. It's very controversial in our religion. And so they were like, do you really believe that he saw God the Father in Jesus Christ? And I sat in that room. And I said, if you held a gun to my head right now, I'll take a bullet standing on that. And there's nothing you can say to change my mind. And from that point, I knew there's a thought in my head, this is what I want to do. I want to go out and tell people the truth. And I mean, going on a mission, giving up football, it's everything I worked for my whole life. And coming back, like I'm not sure what's gonna happen, but I feel like I'm sending a bigger message, giving up football, than saying my mission, like my mission is football, using my platform, right? Because you have a lot of athletes that say, I didn't serve a mission because I feel like I can use my platform to spread the gospel. That's not me. I feel like I'm sending a bigger message, giving up football and giving up everything to give up my time to go out and serve a mission.
Wow. Brian, you are wise, brother. You are wiser than your years. I want to talk about it. I want to dissect that a little bit because that's a tough decision that most 18-year-olds don't want to make. And I don't think being in your shoes, I don't think I would have been able to be in that right headspace to make that type of decision. But I had this conversation with you today, if you remember, that the person that's the quickest at making decisions is God.
Right.
And if there's anyone that has felt any pain, emotion, feeling, it's God. And so knowing that, funny to see that your dad talked about core values and what God first is that'll work out. So I know the uncertainty of, hey, is football going to be around when I get back? Leave it up to God. God will figure it out. But knowing that you're willing to take a bullet to the head, that's a strong statement, bro. Take a bullet to the head to die on and stand on what you believe. That's a powerful thing that most individuals didn't find. I didn't find that conviction in myself until I had a kid. And to see you lean into that for yourself, not for Jet, not for your dad, but for yourself, that's powerful, bro. So I'm proud of you.
Appreciate that.
On a different note, there's a lot of pressure. Going back to pressure, I want to talk about pressure a little bit because there's a lot of 17, 18, 19-year-olds right now that are dealing with pressure. There's a pressure of like, I'm graduating high school, then what's next? If I don't get to college, then what's next? If I don't get a job, then what's next? Pressure is something that you've had a long time, and I can relate to you because there's this battle of being a little bro, right? I think this is one of the pressures I had was like trying to compete with my brother, but then also come into a sense of knowing that we support him, but it's a competition from love, but also kind of feeling like a shadow.
Right.
Do you ever feel that sometimes?
Yeah, definitely. During our recruiting process, me and Jet, when he started getting offers, I felt like I was happy for him, obviously, but it was kind of discouraging just to see like him climbing and I'm staying the same. And so, like, my dad got mad at me for one time because me and him ended up getting in an argument. And I was like, "Oh, you get some offers, you want to switch up?" But I was just talking. But yeah, I definitely feel that like you just want to compete. And when I finally started getting offers, like as an older brother, he didn't feel like it was a competition. He was just happy to see me succeed. And so I feel like that was like a very humbling experience just to see how he looks at it versus how I look at it.
Yeah, because I think that's one of the things I would always get, man. I remember mom, man, she would always just text me. Joby would always just text me like, hey, can you talk to Brian? You know, Brian's feeling really down right now because he didn't get offered. I think in your junior year, I just feel that's a lot of weight, you know, seeing that your brother's being recruited at a high level and you've been side by side with him, training side by side with him this whole time and not being able to hear your name get called up. From a mental standpoint, how'd that make you feel?
Yeah, I mean, it was hard to see, like.
And just taking Jet aside, I want to talk to Brian.
Yeah.
Like, how did you feel through that process?
Man, it was tough. No one sees the work we put in behind the scenes. No one saw all those hot summers where me and Jet were out there grinding midday, just trying to be the best. No one saw those late night workouts. Like 8th grade, I think is when I really started making that change where I knew I wanted to be that guy. I had some coaches do me dirty, and from that point on, I'm like, all right, screw everyone that does me dirty. Now I'm gonna do me. And so no one saw that work I started putting in. That's when the flip really switched in my mind that I was gonna be the best. And so no one saw all that work I put in. Every time someone did me dirty, I'll use it as fuel. Like, I already bet I'm gonna catch you on the flip side. And so no one saw all that extra work. Me and Jet would be running routes. We get an argument. My dad come out, start yelling at us, and no one saw all that behind the scenes work. And so to see us put in the same amount of work and one of us to succeed, it was hard to watch. But I knew my time was coming. It was just a matter of time.
Yeah, and I think that's what I want to keep talking about is pressure. Because I think pressure is what built you. I can feel it. When I'm talking to you, I can feel the pressure that's been building up. You know, just the way you sit and you're talking, the way you express yourself. And going back to the pressure, you dealt with a lot of pressure going from how many offers?
20.
20, right? Do you mind sharing some of the schools?
Yeah, I had Oklahoma State, Utah, Arizona, San Diego State, Utah State, Minnesota. Those are some of the few top ones.
And let's talk about that because you have some really big names, some household names in college football. To know that they all pulled and you have no offers, how'd that feel? I guess let me ask you a question. How did you process that?
Yeah, I mean, being at the top, I mean, going into my senior year, it was more of, I don't care. Like, I'm going to go. I'm going to have fun my senior year. I'm locked into college. Like, I'm just going to go do me. And so that was my thought. Like, if I didn't get the stats I wanted that game, it's all good. Just keep doing you. You're going to college. And so, like, I was at the top. And sometimes the talk can be a dangerous place to be. Complacency.
Why?
Because I feel like it almost started turning into me getting complacent. And complacent, that's a dangerous place to be.
Did you feel like being recruited by a lot of schools that they get to your head a little bit?
A little.
Okay.
I feel like the grind before I had my offers versus after, in a way it was the same, but my mindset was a little different because it felt like you're working for something versus trying to keep something. And so I felt like I was, I don't know.
Yeah, because the reason why I asked you this question is because I've learned in my life that whenever you go through hard times, there's always a gift. There's a story I'll share with you. Mentor. I was living in Uncle Dave and Steph's, and Auntie Steph, Uncle Dave used to send me to this Boys to Men camp, and this camp was like a summer camp that used to be in like Kearns, Utah. And in this camp used to be like Sudanese guys, bunch of black guys that just had just stupid bounce. I'm talking about these guys can jump out the gym, and I was never athletically gifted. And why I share that is because through his program, I would always ask him like, hey, when are we gonna like touch a basketball? We never touched a basketball. We only touched weights, mobility, and flexibility, stretch. But we would do this every single day. I'm talking about the summertime, and part of this exercise is that we always have like an hour, and we would talk about mental. We would talk about the mindset, and it still resonates with me to this day. He shared the story. Story was there was a homeless guy that imagine a freeway interstate, and there would be a homeless guy that would sit on this crate. This crate that he sat on, he sat there for years. And for many years, he would watch the cars drive by and drive by and drive by and drive by. And he had a sign that he would say, anything would help, please donate. And people would give him $1, they would give him a quarter, they give him a dime, here's $5. But there was one guy that finally came and told him, if you want this, this $20 bill, you need to get up and come get it. And moral of the story is as that guy, the homeless guy that got up off that crate, he gets up to go get that $20 bill, guess what happens? A big wind blows and blows that crate that he's been sitting on. And what he was sitting on was $1 million the whole time. And so that was a powerful shift for me because sometimes in life, we aren't willing to take the courage or stand up to go and get the thing that we want. But that's really the lesson and the beauty of understanding our potential, where, like you said, leaning into uncertainty. It's tough to go on a 2-year mission to figure out, man, am I going to have offers, right? But that's the beauty in how you grow. And so going back to what you talked about, being recruited at the top level, now having 0 offers, what lesson did that teach you?
I think it taught me to always stay humble, stay hungry. That was the biggest thing I got out of that, from being at the top to having schools begging for me and you know, in college now there's NIL and all that. Like, I felt like I was on top of the world, and then when it all got stripped away from me, like I went to a dark place, and I was there for a
Talk to
while.
us about the dark place.
Man, when you have everything and go to nothing, because I mean, you guys growing up how you did, you guys went from nothing to everything, and so when it's reversed, you just feel like you're nothing. I felt like nothing. I felt alone. I just felt like I was depressed. Like I think growing up in like a Polynesian culture, like you said, mental health is not really a big thing. So until I really had an experience, I thought like all mental health, I thought it was all kind of BS.
Mm.
Until I went in that dark spot, that dark place, and I was there and I didn't really know what to do. And then my dad came one day. He was like, hey, "You need to snap out of it." Like he's like, you know who you are. You put the work in. Like nothing's really changed. Like you still need to do the same steps you've been doing. You still need to grind. You still need to be out there doing what you do. And so I think talking to my dad really pulled me out of it. And I was like, yeah, you know what? You're right. Like I'm gonna grind. I'm gonna do what I gotta do to get back to the top. And when I get back to the top, everyone who did me dirty, catch you on the flip side.
And that's something I want to talk about because you talked about, well, back to pressure, but you talked about being in a dark place. There's a difference between lonely and then being alone. And that's something I had to learn. You're not really lonely because you got siblings, you got your parents, you're in a household, people around you, right? There's a difference between being alone and being lonely. What I have learned is being alone is good. Being lonely is different. The difference is when you're lonely, you don't have the connection with yourself. So like I think something that, just to give you some like advice on the mission, but a relationship, sometimes we think that, and I thought this, that it was like, okay, it requires me and a partner, right? And I thought that's a relationship. The actual clinical term is a relationship is a personal magnification of your personal insecurities, right? A relationship is a personal magnification of your personal insecurities. So like you send through those thoughts of like, man, I'm not good enough. People forgetting about me. Why did these people switch up on me? You can be in those lonely thoughts, but that's the reflection of being okay with yourself and to see your growth from that to where you are now. Bro, that's inspiring, dude. So I wanted to, number one, get you on the podcast to share that because I think there's a lot of Polynesians right now, a lot of teenagers going through this right now. What would you say to them that they may be going through that right now?
Yeah, and I think the main thing is you got to find out who you are outside of what you're doing. What you do is not who you are. It doesn't define you. And so I think that's the biggest thing. If you know who you are, nothing can shake you. Like, if you ask me who I am right now, I say I'm Bryton New. I'm the son of God. I'm the son of Enoch and Joby New. I'm a brother. Like, there's what I do is not who I am. And so I would tell them, find out who you are. And like my dad mentioned earlier, what's your why? Because if you have those two things, nothing can shake you.
And if you could be like someone, your Mount Rushmore of individuals, who would be your Mount Rushmore, who you would want to look up to or be like? For me, obviously, it's Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant was one of the ones that I looked up. I named my son Kobe. Mamba mentality. Second was obviously my dad. Third is my brother. And then fourth is my Uncle Dave. Those are like the four guys in my Mount Rushmore that really changed my life. Who are those individuals in your life?
Man, the first one that comes to mind is my pops. I mean, to see what he's been through and everything he's sacrificed for me and my siblings, especially me and Jet, to get to where we are, it's something special. And it's hard. Like, we don't always see eye to eye. But, like, today, I think that's the first time I ever see my pops cry. And just see my pops cry, it got me emotional. I mean, I've never really seen that side of him. And so I think just seeing that today, it's really, like, made me closer to my pops. And that's all you can really ask for. I mean, being an athlete, me and my brother talk about it all the time. We just want to make our pops proud. And I think that's the same with a lot of athletes, and especially Polynesians. Just want to make our pops proud. Yeah, that's the first one that comes to mind. I think another one, like you said, is my brother too. My brother Jet. We've been through a lot together. I mean, we've been through the recruiting process together. We grind together. Like everything we did it together. And so when he went to college, that was a hard day for me. When we sent him off to college, that day I started crying. But yeah, it was hard to let go of him. But it's good to see him doing his thing now. Um, let's see, another would probably be you, just to see how you handle yourself, how you came up out of your upbringing, just to see how you're doing now. You got a wife, you got kids, and you're just doing your thing out there. And me, Jade, and Jet talk about it all the time. And we really look up to you. I hope you know that, and that you have a big impact on our lives.
Thank you.
And who's my fourth? Shonetonga.
Tease up, hey. You guys know me.
Shout out Shonetonga.
Throw up the tease real quick for the camera.
No, but yeah, I mean, you guys, I really look up to you guys and everything you guys do. I hope you guys know that it gets noticed, and we're proud of all you guys.
And I want you to know, Bryton, man, I'm proud of you. You know, so I know sometimes you don't get the credit that you deserve. Sometimes, you know, being in the shadow of Jet, you know, sometimes it can be a lot because I've been in your shoes. Like, it was almost a big shadow of trying to fill in my brother's shoes at times, you know. I was like, man, it was like the most beautiful house. You know, I'm like, man, one day, hopefully I can get to this place, right? And it's just, what I've just learned, man, is my brothers always loved me, you know, and that was one of the insecurities I had to get through. And just know, man, I'm proud of you. And I'm sure, I know this episode that we're going to roll out is going to touch a lot of people, because I know that there's a lot of people that are going through this right now. And because of your courage, that's the impact that they're going to have in their life. So thanks, bro.
Appreciate you.